What is going on, YouTube? Chris with Cherno's Comics and Pop Culture. Hope everyone is having an amazing day. And today's video is going to be podcast themed, as I'm just going to talk with you guys about something that I find very, very interesting and that I'm passionate about. And it obviously has to do with what you see on the screen. So this will be displayed on the screen. We'll go over what it means, and then I'll dive into the topic. If you guys aren't subscribed yet to the channel, please do so. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you. And today being my birthday, I'm so happy that I can be here making content for all of you guys. Keep a lookout in a couple of weeks for my birthday bash live stream. It's going to be super fun, but a lot on my plate. So that's going to be probably not until a couple weeks. So just keep a lookout. Now, for today's video, guys, let's read this together. This is a sign that was put on the back issue bins of a LCS, a local comic book shop. I don't know where exactly in the States, but somewhere. It was posted in a comic book group on Facebook. I took the picture and said, this is just a great talking point. Let's read it together. Due to the fluctuating prices and volume that we buy, meaning volume of books that they buy, comics are not priced. Please bring to the counter for price. Sorry for the inconvenience, and thank you. The individual that posted this said, this is a local LCS. This is how they're handling things in their store. What do you guys think of this? What's ironic to this is that I have an LCS close to me that does this. I've talked about him in some videos before, but like years ago on my channel. It's been a while. I've only been in this place literally like twice. And I don't even know if I bought anything. I think I bought a new book for my kid once when we were in the neighborhood. But you go in there, right? And they have, it's got a lot of stuff. I mean, they have a lot of back issue bins, but the bins are like, the books are toppled over in the bins. They're like, they don't have backing boards in the books. And they're, you guys know how books look in a box that isn't like all the way filled and they start slumping over. So, you got books here that are just getting damaged and whatever. Some didn't even have bags, and there's no prices on them. Actually, some there is old price tags on them, but they're not the store's price tags. And you have to bring them up, and they look in their system and price it there. So in what their system is, I don't know. Are they checking eBay sold? Or do they have a database? Are they going on like Go Collect or Cover Price or Comic Book Realm? I don't know what they're doing. And honestly, I said, this is a joke. Now, let me, obviously this video is going to be talking about why I feel that this is a no-no. Hands down, this is not the way to run a business. I'm going to talk about it from a collector standpoint and from a business standpoint, okay? Now, as a collector, when I go into a store, right, and you're digging through the bins, and you're digging through crates, part of the fun of that is being able to find, especially for me, I collect runs. So I'll go to certain runs, I'll find books that I don't have on my runs, and I'll get a nice, decent little pile going. And most of us are collectors on a budget. So if we're going to spend a decent amount of time, whether it be 20 minutes to an hour, digging through back bins, adding some books into a nice small pile, and then we get up to the register and we give them these books, and you don't know what they are, and then they start giving you the prices, and what you think should have been like a $3 or $4 book, they're trying to mark as an $8 or $9 or $10 book, and you're like, wow, I can't afford these. You just wasted all of your time in that store digging through the back bins, and it killed the whole experience. It killed the entire experience of what it means to go diving for back issues. Now, I'm going to give a good example of why this scenario that you see here on screen and that I talked about with this one store that's in my area. I'm going to give you a scenario why this should never happen. Okay. And obviously I'm going to use as an example none other than A1 Comics. A1 Comics in Sacramento. They have 3 locations. Their main location is in an old Wells Fargo bank. It is decently huge. It's not Mile High Comics huge, but it's guys, if you've ever been into a big Wells Fargo or Bank of America bank, I mean, I can't even tell you the square footage, but it's like the size of a, like a junior high gymnasium, or that's kind of how I would, that's about how I would compare it to. And you go in and they have so many back issues and everything is priced. And their back stock, they have back stock in their vault. They have back stock underneath the open bins that are on the tables that you can look through out in the store area on the floor. And they even have back stock upstairs. I mean, they have back stock everywhere. And then you go to their other locations. Their other location in Roseville is a decent size comic book store as well. I mean, that's the size of like I would say maybe like a small church or a kind of like a mess hall. That's kind of how I would describe that size. And again, back issues after back issues after back issues, and then they have stock throughout the store. And then they have their smaller location in Folsom, which doesn't have much back stock, but in every single store, even their larger locations, everything is priced out. And here's the thing. I know that they will go, and I don't know the whole process, but I know that they will have staff go through their back issues and reevaluate and reprice. Okay. Plus, they have a lot of stock coming in. And what they do is they keep anything that's valued at $10 or how they price it is $9.90. $9.90 and under that is marked are in the back issue bins. Anything above $10 isn't on the floor. Anything above $10 is pulled and is organized in back issue bins that are in boxes that you can go up to the counters and say, "Hey, I want to look through your Amazing Spider-Man or your Fantastic Four back issues that aren't on the floor," and everything you find in there is going to be priced at $10 or above. Then you have the wall books, of course, that are your more valuable keys. To me, that's a perfect setup, and I've seen so many stores facilitate their back issues in a similar way. Okay, and look, if you are running a business now, so as a fan, I've talked about what it means in terms of the experience, how having this setup can be just deflating to the experience and to the fun of having that experience of going and digging through back issues. And it can really affect a store's sales if you find out afterwards that, oh, I can't afford this stuff. Who's going to want to go and pick one book out at a time saying, what's this? What's the price of this? What's the price of this? Whack, right? Let me talk about the business standpoint now. For one, as a business, you're going to be alienating a large customer base by doing something like this, okay? You're going to be losing sales. See, what you think you're doing is maximizing sales because you want to stay on top of the market, right? You want to stay on top of the hype. And it just doesn't work like that. If you want to stay on top of the hype, know what's hyping, know what people are specking on. Say, for example, okay, your Venom Lethal Protector. So, it's been a few years now since this book got onto the spec market, right? And it went from like a dollar bin book to a $20 to $30 decent key book. Once that started, if you had that book out on the floors in the dollar bins or just in your back issue bins for $2, $3, $4, right? You should know as soon as that hype kicks in that you have to have your employees go on the floor and grab anything related to that, whether it's that issue or that run in general. Firestar hype that we just saw happen. If you had friends and family, Spider-Man Amazing Friends and Family, first appearance of Firestar out on the floor at a cover price of, say, for example, like A1. Say it was a very fine condition and maybe you had it marked at $8. If you could sell that book now for $25, $30, you're going to go grab that book as soon as that hype kicks in and you're going to pull it and reprice it. There is absolutely no reason to do your job as a store and price your books thinking that the bulk of back issue books are going to somehow magically fluctuate to such an extent that you're not maximizing your profits by pre-marking them. And like I said, that one store that's local to me that does this, that doesn't price their books. I went there once when we first moved out to this area, and then I went there again a couple years later when my son had a field trip in that area, and I think that's when I like bought him like a new DC book or something off the shelf. Um, so, I've never been back, and it's been probably like 4 years, and I've never been back there, and I care less to. There's from a business standpoint, you are not doing yourself any justice by creating this injustice for your customers, right? I can't think of why you would pay a staff to do a job and not have them do their job. If you're not bringing in income, or you're not having a profit margin that is allowing you to reap the benefits of your business, which means obviously to pay your overhead, to pay your bills, and then to substantiate a net income, right? If you're not doing that and you have to resort to this, I'm sorry, but maybe this isn't the business for you. Maybe you shouldn't be owning an LCS. Maybe you should continue to be a seller of books, but maybe you need to stick to an eBay store where you can allow your sales to be dictated by the current market by bidding wars or something like that. This is asinine. It's ridiculous in my opinion, and I don't think any comic book store owner or staff should ever do something like this, without question. So I just want to reiterate one more time too on how this is problematic. Look, you could think of comic book inventory. Think of comic book inventory and tell me, first off, when inventory comes in to a store, right? Say, obviously LCSs are constantly getting big collections to fill their inventory in their store. So say you have a collection of a few thousand books, right? There's a few Silver Age, there's some Bronze Age, and there's some moderns, and there's a few keys in there. Some of them are in mint condition, some of them are really beat up. You're gonna most likely, this is what you should do. Whether you're the owner or the manager or the owner and the manager, or your higher ups that are actually running that side of the business are going to want to look at you're going to go through that collection once it comes into your doors. You're going to go through every book. You're going to evaluate every single book. And that doesn't mean you need to spend 5 minutes looking at every book. I mean, if you know what you're doing running your business, you can look at a book and take 5 to 10 seconds looking at this book and know where it's going to go. You pull out, say, a Thor, 190, which is a Bronze Age book, and it's really beat up. Like it's got a little rip in the front, and it's crinkled, and the book's kind of coming off the staple. I would look at that, and right away, I'd probably put it over to put in a dollar bin, right? But then if I get, say it's a run of Thors and I get the next 191 and it's in really good shape, it's in like a fine shape, it's in a decent condition, that's gonna go in the pile to go into my back bins, right? And then I could probably sell that book for anywhere from three to $6, three to $7, and again, just if it's a higher grade, whatever. And I could see those by filming the book and looking at it with my eye and make that decision in just a matter of a few seconds. I'm going to know what my keys are. If I don't, I'm going to have someone that hopefully that I have employed that is my go-to knowledge guy or girl, man or woman, and they're going to be right there with me saying, oh, that's first appearance of so-and-so. We're going to put that aside and the keys. We're going to set a pile aside for books that we think can be sent off to CGC to sell as a graded book, and so forth. And then once we have all that set up, then we probably have employees that do the bagging and boarding. Say, for example, I'm going to use A1 as an example again. They separate whatever goes from the 990 and below price range that goes into the floor back bins. Anything below anything $4 and below, they only put in a poly bag and they price tag it. Everything higher, $5 and $9.90, gets a backing board. And they facilitate it through and they price tag everything. And then they go fill the bins. Okay? But before those people that are bagging and boarding and price tagging are getting their hands on them, I guarantee you they're already separated and organized by price. This is a $4 pile. This is a $3 pile. This is a $7 pile. And then those, floor customer service rep employees are then doing that work to get them out into the floor boxes, right? Anything that's a key, you might have a in-house grader, or you might have a third-party grader that you send your books to get a really decent official grade. That way, once you get that grade, say, you find a Amazing Spider-Man, 122 Death or 121 Death of Gwen Stacy or something, or any key book, right? You're going to take that book to either your in-house or third-party grader. They're going to grade it, roughly a 5.5 or whatever, and you're going to base your price based on what the market's doing on that grade that you got from a professional grader, right? So these are all the things that you need to be doing to run a solid LCS brick and mortar to avoid something like this. So that way you are managing your product in a way that you are getting the best bang for your buck, whether it comes to the money that you're putting in to pay your staff, all the costs that you're putting in to do all these things. Maybe you're paying the grader. There's product costs. You're paying for bags and boards for the books to be bagged and boarded to go out onto the sales floor, right? And you're paying labor costs. All these things are going to be allocated in a way to where when the customers come into your store, you're still maximizing your dollar. And you still understand these numbers because you know the market. And all those books that are separated at higher value books next to all the books that are the lower value ones that are getting put on the floor are going to reflect market value unless something changes overnight. And if something changes overnight, it's not going to be like a whole era of 1980s Marvel books or DC books, right? To where, oh no, I'm going to have to move thousands of books off the floor in a matter of a day. It doesn't work like that. Stay on top of your market. Stay on top of just like anybody that's playing the stock market. Stay on top of watching what the market does. Stay on top of the hype. You have to be in the know, and it's that simple. This is not okay. This is uncalled for, and it is simply bad business. And I'm speaking to this as a businessman, not as a collector. So that's my take on it, guys. I absolutely disagree with this 100%. I don't think any store should be running their business in this way. So, with that being said, guys, let me know what you think. Hey, if you disagree with me, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts to why you agree with something like this, and maybe this is something that I could come back to on another video and take those comments and address those and kind of keep diving into this. This is fun stuff. I love talking about anything related to stuff like this. So thank you all for watching. I appreciate you taking the time and spending with me today. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Leave some comments. Don't be shy. And until next time.